Hi, good morning. Today's topic is activity analysis. Activity analysis is also called as efficiency analysis. Efficiency analysis or turnover analysis. Efficiency analysis or turnover analysis. Okay. It shows the efficiency in the operations of the business. This analysis shows the efficiency in the operations of the business. Operations of the business. Okay. And activity ratios or expressed in times means 5 times 7 times like that, or days 7 days 30 days 40 days like that. Okay, the important ratios what we are going to learn are very important for CMA examination. Please check all these ratios. One, uh, inventory turnover ratio. Two, inventory turnover days. Accounts receivable turnover ratio. Accounts receivable days. Accounts receivable days, how many days the accounts receivable is converted into cash. Then accounts payable turnover ratio. Accounts payable days. So please remember, these ratios are very important, and many times they were asked in even essay questions. So please concentrate. After the calculation of this, we will be calculating the um, number of days we took here plus number of days we took here. So this plus this will give you like 30 days in my diagram here. 30 days plus 15 days means 45 days will give you operating cycle. Operating cycle means how many days you see the inventory in the form of cash. Inventory format will be changing into cash. That is total of inventory conversion days plus accounts receivable conversion days, so that you can compare with your accounts payable credit period. If it is within the credit period, you are happy, you can make your supplier happy. If it is not out, if it is not within the supplier's credit period, that is 90 days, you need to take support from the bank. You need to take support from bank. Like here I said 15 days, here 30 days, 15 days, it is going to be 45 days. So 45 days, but the supplier is giving you 90 days. You will have minus 45 days. Minus means you have cash in advance. Before the supplier invoice becomes due, before the supplier invoice becomes due, your money is there with you. Either you can invest in a short-term investments like marketable securities, or you can bargain with your supplier, negotiate with your supplier that you are clearing the invoice faster, so that you can demand some discount. This is what we can see from the last ratio, that is cash conversion cycle, CCC, cash conversion cycle. In my example, 30 plus 15 is operating cycle. 30 plus 15 minus 90 is cash conversion cycle. So you please remember all these 8 ratios which are expressed in either times or days. Whenever I say like inventory turnover days, accounts receivable turnover days, accounts payable days, this will be expressed in days. Whereas the turnover ratios, the total turnover ratios, okay, they are called time ratios. Means they are to be expressed in time, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, like that. And always remember the times means times in a year. Days means days in a year. Days in a year can be 365 or 360, means that 5 days alternative month will be excluded. Some businesses they concentrate on 300 days. They exclude weekly holidays. You don't need to worry. The number of days assumed will be very clearly given in the exam, either 365 or 360, or when they call business days, you should assume that the days are to be 300. Please always remember business days are 300, 25 days a month, 12 months a year. So whenever you are calculating in my ratios like days, 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 you should use any one of these days, 365, 360 and 300, depending upon the information given in the question. Okay, inventory turnover ratio. Inventory turnover ratio explains the number of times inventory is converted into sales. So higher the ratio, the good is. Okay, higher the ratio, higher the efficiency. So always you try to have higher inventory turnover ratio, which means that the inventory is sold faster. Inventory is sold faster. But of course, you cannot say that inventory has to be sold faster as compared to some other business. No, it should be as per the industry average. Industry average in a sense, an electronic showroom must compare with only electronic showroom, not a foodstuff company. An electronic showroom company should not compare with the some car showroom. You understand? So inventory turnover ratio, when you calculate, always it must be compared with the industry average. Industry average means for the same nature of business. That will give you the right picture whether your inventory turnover ratio is okay or bad or good. Inventory turnover ratio, it is to be expressed in times. So number of times in a year, times in a year. Okay, the formula, inventory turnover ratio formula, I will call it as ITR now onwards. ITR means inventory turnover ratio equals to cost of goods sold divided by average inventory. As I told you, the denominator will be always average. Average inventory means inventory at the beginning plus inventory at the end divided by 2, and also cost of goods sold equals to sales minus GP, that is gross profit, or opening inventory, beginning inventory plus purchases minus ending inventory, means inventory at the end of the year. So depending upon the information given there, you need to use the formula. It is not that you'll have to use always sales minus GP. It is not that always you should use this formula. It depends upon the information given in the question. So if beginning inventory, purchase, ending inventory are given but sales are not given, you should follow this. Nothing is given except sales and gross profit, we should use this formula, sales minus gross profit. Then average inventory equals to beginning inventory plus ending inventory. You will have two balance sheets, last year balance sheet, last year closing stock will become current year, last year closing stock becomes current year opening stock, that divided by 2. Now inventory days, how many days you took to convert this inventory into sales? Inventory turnover days is simple, it calculates the number of days took to convert the inventory into days. Formula is so simple, inventory days equals to inventory days equals to, here I 365 depending upon the information given in the question, either 365 or 360, or sometimes he may use business days, which is 25 days a month, 12 months a year. So it is 300 days divided by ITR calculated in the previous formula, inventory turnover ratio. The one which you calculated here should be the denominator here, and whether you should take 365 days or 360 days or 300 days, that depends upon the given information. Clear? And these days will be compared with industry average based on the nature of the business you operate. If you are operating a business in like trading into electronic goods, you should compare with only your competitor electronic goods inventory turnover days. Then the next ratio is accounts receivable turnover ratio. Accounts turnover receivable turnover ratio tells you how many days the inventory the accounts receivable is converted into cash. Explains the number of times credit sales. Remember, credit sales, not total sales, or number of days, number of times credit sales took place in a year. More days is good. Okay, more days is always good. Higher the ratio is always good, and it should also be expressed in times. Higher the ratio, higher the efficiency. Means your collection department is stronger. When you sell goods on credit, and if you don't follow up, it will go into doubtful debt. That is the reason why you need to monitor that usually in how many times you have to collect money, and based on that you need to monitor and remember your customers. Here, accounts receivable turnover ratio. Accounts receivable turnover ratio is equal to credit sales. Remember, credit sales please, not the total sales, divided by average accounts receivable. Accounts receivable means your credit customers. Okay. Average accounts receivable, again you will calculate the same way. Beginning receivables plus ending receivables, average accounts receivable equals to beginning receivables, beginning AR ending AR divided by 2. Okay, when you understand this, again, once you calculate this ratio, just convert it into days, accounts receivable turnover days. Remember always the days you need to find out from the question itself. Accounts receivable turnover days calculates the number of days took to convert the accounts receivable into cash. The accounts receivable cash, so that cash is in your hand. So accounts receivable days equals to 365, 360, 300 divided by ARTR, accounts receivable turnover ratio, which you calculated here. Okay, once you calculate these two ratios, you need to calculate operating cycle. This one, this is the total of this 30 and 15. Okay, now let us calculate operating cycle here. Operating cycle is the total number of days taken to convert the inventory and accounts receivable into cash. So please remember, I said here inventory and accounts receivable means these days, inventory days plus accounts receivable days. That will tell you what number of days you took to convert inventory into cash. See, you took inventory into accounts receivable 30 days. You took accounts receivable into cash 15 days. So the operating cycle would be 45 days in my example. So formula is simple. Once you calculate them, just add them. That's it. Inventory days means how many days you took to convert inventory into credit sales plus accounts receivable days, which you calculated in the previous formula. And always remember, this should be monitored with the accounts payable turnover ratio, the days. Okay, second. Now let us discuss about accounts payable turnover ratio and accounts payable days, which is just a replica of accounts receivable turnover ratio. Okay, and it is same like what we have in accounts receivable. Let's discuss in detail accounts payable turnover ratio. Accounts payable turnover ratio will take place only when you have credit purchases. If your company has a policy to buy the goods only on cash, don't think of this ratio at all, because if you have credit purchase, you think of credit accounts payable turnover ratio. If your company policy is not to purchase any goods on credit, only cash, then accounts payable turnover ratio will not be there. So how many times you are buying the goods on credit will find in accounts payable turnover ratio. Credit purchases. Again remember, no credit purchase, no accounts payable turnover ratio. And sometimes we may feel this is different, higher the ratio, higher efficiency, but obviously when higher sales are there, you'll have to purchase large volumes, large quantities, large number of times you need to purchase. That depends upon the nature of the business, and it has to be expressed in times, like how many times in a year you purchased. And the formula to calculate APTR, accounts payable turnover ratio, will be credits purchases. If you have total purchase with cash purchase, please remove the cash purchases and divided by average accounts payable, means your creditors. Calculate average accounts payable and using the formula average accounts payable equals to beginning AP accounts payable plus ending AP accounts payable divided by 2. And of course, how many days he is giving, a supplier is giving, need to be found by calculating accounts payable turnover days. Okay, so in how many days we took to pay our suppliers, to pay cash to suppliers. How many days you are taking to pay to the supplier? Okay, so AP days, accounts payable days equals to 365 or 360 or 300 divided by APTR, accounts payable turnover ratio, which you calculated here. Then you need to find out cash conversion cycle. Overall cash conversion cycle gives us inventory days, accounts receivable days minus accounts payable days. So you'll have to say less accounts payable days. Accounts payable days. Say he gives you 90 days. Your supplier is giving you 90 days. It's a good thing. Your cash conversion cycle would be minus 45 days. That is, what is that? 30 plus 15 minus 90 days equals to how many days? Minus 45 days. Always, if it is minus, it would be fine. Why? Because minus means the cash is in your hand. Okay, 30 days plus 15 days minus 90 days. Here you will get minus 45 days. Remember, minus 45 days means number of days. 45 days you have cash in your hand. Okay, all right. Operating cycle. This is a cash conversion cycle. Cash conversion cycle is the total number of days taken to convert the inventory, receivable, and and pay cash paid cash to suppliers. So you should sell the inventory, collect cash. This is your operating cycle, and when you deduct it, okay, you will get cash conversion cycle. So here inventory days, accounts receivable days minus account payable days will give you the answer for conversion cycle, cash conversion cycle. This is a formula. Minus, remember please, minus. Accounts payable should be deducted. Yeah, this is a formula. So inventory days plus accounts receivable minus accounts payable. This way it will give you the example.